Hey there, beautiful people. It's Dina, bringing another daily dose. One of the most common things that you will see in the world of special needs parenting or parenting in an extreme situation is the burden of weariness or the burden of carrying heavy loads of responsibility. You can get to a place where you just feel like, I cannot do this anymore. I can't carry this anymore. And I talk quite frequently about that on this channel because it's so important for us to understand, not only to raise awareness, of moms that are going through extreme situations, but also to speak truth into those situations so they can find freedom. That was one of the things that helped me to transform my life, and what I share so openly about is that I did feel like I was being crushed under the weight of the responsibility as a caregiver. I just felt like I couldn't breathe. I've mentioned many times that it felt like I was drowning almost, that I was, swimming in the deep end of the water and treading water and going under just to come up to catch a breath and then going back under again. I couldn't get my strength. I couldn't get past the heaviness of the burden of that. So I wanted to read what scripture actually says about heavy burdens. But before I do that, I want to ask you, is it possible that we are feeling this heavy burden because we are not meant to carry it? Is it possible that God might be asking you to let go of something? What is it that you're carrying that God is supposed to carry, or that the two of you are supposed to carry together? So many times we feel like we're just struggling and striving through, and it's because, number one, are not partnering with God. We're not even asking Him to carry the burden. How many times, even just in our own family, do we struggle through something? At least I did. I don't know if I'm the only one that ever did this, but I would struggle through something. I would act like this victim. It's not fair. I just did a video about this. It's not fair. Why do I have to do all of this? And I never even really asked anybody to help me. It's almost like I expected somebody to see what I was going through and they offer up their help. A lot of times I felt guilty about asking for help because it was, not their responsibility. If they were outside of my family, I didn't want to ask them for help because, I didn't feel like it was their responsibility to have to deal with that. And then I also just felt like I should be taking care of it myself. I used to have a hard time asking for help. I don't have any problem helping others, but sometimes people that are very giving, and also people pleasers, we have a hard time receiving. And that was something that God had to really work out in me. But so much of the time, I wasn't even asking for help, but I was angry or upset because I had to do all this extra work. And there probably were times where people would have helped if I just asked. There were burdens I was carrying that I didn't need to carry. Also, are there things that you're carrying or doing extra that you don't need to do? So I'm using my experience. That's all I can do, is use my experience in hopes that it helps somebody else. There were many times I was taking on the weight of something I didn't need to, or I was trying to, do something perfect, or as I say so often, dot all the I's and cross all the T's and get everything right. And I was never asked to do that, not by God and not by my family. But I just had this expectation, a high expectation on myself, which also poured over onto others. I had a high expectation of other people. Now, some of that is the way I was raised. My parents are both, we're both people. My mom still a person of excellence, and it matters. It's important to show up in the world in a positive way and to give everything you can to other people. They're very generous and grew up in a household of hospitality and generosity. So I learned how to be that way. But sometimes doing that, when we would prepare for big events and things like that, there was a lot of to-dos that we had to do, and especially as a kid, like I didn't want to do all that stuff. But everybody else had a great experience. But, they would have had a great experience even if we didn't do all that extra work. And we certainly have toned it down over the years. And we've learned how to just enjoy each other's company without putting something on that has all the bells and whistles. How many times are we doing extra things that we don't need to do? And then we're upset because we have all these extra responsibilities. I am definitely guilty of that. So many times I want the house clean. I want all the projects done. I want to make sure that I'm homeschooling properly and being there for my husband and being there for my other kids and, making sure I'm reading my Bible and exercising and eating healthy and spending time with my friends and doing all this extra stuff. And you could get yourself spinning plates and they're crashing all down around you because you're just doing too much. I definitely believe there should be balance in all of that. I think there's seasons in our life where we can do more of one thing and maybe some other things have to be left by the wayside. If you're in a season of building, you're an entrepreneur, you're busy, sometimes the house can't always be clean. You're not able to do every little thing. You may have to say no to a lot of commitments or family functions because you're in the middle of building something. I'm in the middle of writing my book right now, and I'm in the middle of building this ministry for especially empowered moms. So a lot of time is spent putting this content together, and doing the editing and creating of the content. So I don't have a lot of free time on doing that. So the time that I have left, I do need to spend that with my family, taking care of my family. But sometimes I forget to take care of myself. I have to make sure that I prioritize that first so that I can actually be effective in doing the other things. But there are things that I carry that I don't need to. And there are things that I have to continually bring back to God and say, what is it that I should be letting go of? What is it that is unnecessary? I even ask him about the content creation. What am I doing that I don't need to do? What am I making more of a big deal than I don't need to do? What can just completely go away? And what is it that I can relook at in a different way and maybe simplify that? And what is it that was never meant for me to carry in the first place? So that's really what I want you to ask yourself today. If you're still tuned in and listening, is it possible that God wants you to let go of whatever it is you're carrying? I'm going to give you kind of a silly little example, but have you ever had a baby that has their hand, they're holding onto their hair and they're screaming and screaming and screaming, and you're trying to pull the hair out of their hand and they're pulling their own hair, and you can't release their hand. You're like, if you just let go of it, if you let go of the grip, the pain will go away. It's kind of like us. We're grabbing our own hair and we're crying, and this hurts, this is so painful. And God is saying, let go of the grip of what you're holding on to, and the pain will go away. You'll find relief if we let go. So that's really what I want to leave you with. But before I do that, I'm going to give you the biblical truths behind what God actually says when we are carrying something heavy or when we should let that go. So the first one is in Matthew 11:28-30. Now I'm going to read these to you in multiple versions because, again, I feel like it's really important to see the whole scope and see how things are broken down. I don't know what version is your favorite version, but I like a lot of them because I just find it really helps me to meditate on it and dig deeper into that. So Matthew 11:28-30 in the Amplified version says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy burdened, by religious rituals that provide no peace." Have we ever done that? Have we ever done these rituals that just provide no peace? I certainly have. "And I will give you rest, refreshing your souls with salvation. Take my yoke upon you and lean on me, following me as my disciple. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest, renewal, blessed, quiet for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear and my burden is light." Right there, that should refresh your soul just listening to that right there. But listen to what it says in the Message translation. It says, "Are you tired? Are you worn out? Burnt out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you will recover your life." You'll recover your life. How many of us feel like we've lost our lives or lost ourselves in this caregiving responsibility? "I'll show you how to make a real rest. Walk with me, work with me, watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythm of grace." Isn't that beautiful? Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. "I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." Somebody said to me the other day that God doesn't give you more than you can bear. That is absolutely not true. God gives us lots of things that we can't bear, but he doesn't give us more than he can bear. So many times people get that misunderstood. If you're walking with God, then yes, you can walk through anything, you can carry anything, because he's the one that's carrying that heavy burden. No, he can't. It's not about us being able to do it. It's about what we can do through him. Okay, so in Psalm 55:22, in the New Living Translation, it says, "Give your burdens to the Lord and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall." If we give our burdens to him, he will carry us. It says in the Passion Translation, "So here's what I've learned through it all. Leave all your cares and anxieties at the feet of the Lord, and measureless grace will strengthen you." Measureless grace means that there's no ending to the grace that was going to strengthen us if we just lay our burdens at his feet. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast all your anxiety on him. He cares for you." God does care for us. He cares when we're hurting. He cares when we're carrying heavy burdens. He doesn't want us to do that alone. In that same verse in the Passion Translation, says, "Pour out all your worries and stress upon him and leave them there." Pour them out, leave them there. Let them go. The pain will go away if you let them go and give them to him, for he always tenderly cares for you. And then I'm going to follow up and leave you with this. Proverbs 3:5-6. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him and he will make your path straight." Now that's the verse that we've heard so many times. But listen to how it says it in the Passion Translation. "Trust the Lord completely and do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on him to guide you, and he will lead you in every decision you make. Become intimate with him in whatever you do, and he will lead you wherever you go. Become intimate with him, and he will lead you. Have that deep, personal, intimate relationship with him, and he will guide you. He will show you unending grace. We don't have to carry these heavy burdens as a special needs mom or as a caregiver or going through an extreme parenting situation. It says right in his word. And he's not a man that should lie. When God says something, he doesn't take it back. He doesn't change it. He is who he says he is, and he will fulfill on his promises. And these are promises. The promise is, if you give me that heavy burden, I will give you rest. If you cast that care, then I will give you unabounding grace. So there's something that we have to do in order for him to give something back to us. The promises usually come with something that we have to do first. The biggest thing that we have to do is believe him. Believe that he is who he says he is and that he will do what he says he will do. It's all tied to what we believe. If you don't believe, then it may not come true, okay? Because he can't do more than what we believe. He's not going to go against what we believe in. And it also is tied to trusting that he is going to get you through all of that. Believing that he can do it and trusting that he's going to get you through that. So anyway, I hope that this encourages you. These scriptures encouraged me. If you're carrying something heavy, let it go. Maybe it's something you were never meant to carry. Maybe it's something only God should carry. Maybe the two of you are supposed to carry it. Reevaluate that. Ask him. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help and then act like a victim like me. Okay? I will leave all these scriptures in the description below. And I just pray that, if you are feeling weary, that you just trust and rest that your season of lightness is coming. I promise you. The creator of the universe loves you. He has a plan for you, and it is good. I promise you. And I love you, and I can't wait for us to be back together again. So have an awesome day. Bye.